Hi everyone, thanks for watching. This video is going to be all about practice. We're going to look at some sample questions involving isotopes, ions, and the proper notations to represent them. Before we look at our first example, I'm going to introduce just one key idea for this whole video, and that is when you're doing questions like this, it's always good to start with the atomic number and the protons first. It's just the easiest way to do it. This also usually involves identifying whatever the element is. You'll see that in this first example, which asks us to write the isotopic notation that would describe this atom. So let's do what the key idea says and start with the atomic number or the protons and by identifying the element. So we go to the nucleus, see there's 6 protons. If you had a periodic table, which everybody should, or just look it up online, go to that periodic table and find out that the only element with the atomic number 6 is carbon, allowing us to start off this isotopic notation by putting C for carbon in an atomic number of 6. Next, I like to go to the mass, which is protons plus neutrons. 6 plus 6 gives me a mass of 12. Finally, for the charge, if there is one, that's where you keep score of your protons versus your electrons, positive team versus negative team. I already know there's 6 protons. If you count the electrons, you'll see there's 9 of them, which means the negative team, the electrons, are winning by 3, making the charge -3. Here's a second example where you pretty much have to do the same thing but in the opposite direction. We're given the isotopic notation and have to draw what the atom would look like. You pretty much follow the same format like the key idea says. Start with the protons. The atomic number is 12, which means my nucleus is going to have 12 protons. I just like to put P equals 12. You don't have to draw out 12 little dots. Next, let's figure out how many neutrons are in that nucleus. Neutrons are found by looking at the mass, knowing that protons plus neutrons give me 26. Also knowing that we've got 12 protons. So what you're really asking yourself is 12 plus what number would give you a mass of 26. You can find that by doing 26 minus the 12, coming up with 14 neutrons to give us that mass of 26. Finally are the electrons in these energy levels. Electrons are found by considering the charge. Here's where you keep score between positive team versus negative team. Positive team has a score of 12. We don't know the negative team score, but I do know the positive team has to be winning by 2. It's a +2 charge, which means there can only be a score of 10 for the electrons. 2 of those electrons go in the first energy level, that's all it can hold, leaving 8 electrons for the second. For the final example, we'll do kind of the same thing, just looks a little different. There's 3 different isotopic notations. Your job is to identify how many protons, neutrons, and electrons are in each. It's also a really good idea now to really test what you can and cannot do. Pause the video and try these on your own, and then watch as I go over the answers to see how well you did. Assuming you've had a chance to pause and try these, or if you're just following along, here's the answers. Protons should always come first because it's easiest. The atomic number is the proton, so 10, 34, and 34. Next, let's look at the masses to get the neutrons. Subtract out the atomic number. 21 minus 10 is 11 neutrons. 80 minus 34 is 46 neutrons. And 82 minus 34 is 48 neutrons. For the electrons, you have to look at the charge if there is one. The neon atom has no charge, so the scores are equal, 10 to 10, so 10 electrons. In the selenium atom, -2, the negative team has to be winning by 2, so there's got to be 36 electrons. And here the positive team has to be winning by 4, so we could only have 30 electrons. I also want to let everyone know that there's an extra optional video available if anyone struggled with these, and if I went over them a little bit too fast, you'll kind of get to see me actually write out the answers rather than just click them in. So feel free to watch that if you need. That pretty much wraps up this video. Thank you very much for watching.